Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the New York Empoleon's Week 4 Team Builder of the GBA. We are here this week with a new member of my front office. Yehoodles gets a well-deserved break, and in we get to welcome Coach Joe. Would you like to say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Joe is another really good friend of mine. He and I actually go way back in terms of Draft League. Joe was the only member of my original front office in my very first Draft League, the first season of the TBL. The two of us would just build together. He wasn't participating in that season. He was just helping out, having a good time with prep and stuff. And we sort of both learned Draft League together at that time, which was cool. And now he participates in every season of the TBL, and he's here in the front office helping me out even to this day. So he's been around since 2017 in Draft League behind the scenes.
Yeah.
My opponent this week is the Borussia Donphan, coached by L. Scissor, or Lars, the assistant coach of Frank Trode. I actually don't know how to pronounce any of these assistant coaches' names, and it's not a good look for me, but that's okay. The links are in the description below, and you all don't have to say it out loud. You just have to click it. Anyway, all of the coaches for the GBA, both head coach and assistant coaches, are in the description below. And I encourage you to go check all of them out, as they are all super cool people. My opponent's team this week is Weavile, Tornadus Eye, Enamorous Eye, Iron Treads, Palmot, Salamence, Bramblegast, Venomoth, Cresselia, Cloth, and Volcanion. Salamence and Volcanion are Terra options, with Salamence being able to Terra into Steel or Flying, and Volcanion being able to Terra into Water or Grass, which are actually the scariest Terra options I faced this whole season, for sure, hands down. Both of them are absolute pains. Both of them are phenomenal mons, and I'm actually kind of surprised you can have both of them be Terra captains, if we're being totally honest. Volcanion was a mon I was looking at personally because it was way under tiered. But it went, I think, the first eligible round that it could possibly go before I got a chance to pick. So, unfortunately, didn't get it. Now I have to face it. Anyway, last week we picked up 1 point, but unfortunately couldn't get the win. So now we're going to be looking to get a win here in this away game. So a little bit less pressure on me this week, but a little bit more pressure to take away the point from my opponent as usual. And I will see you all back here as we get the mock started. I don't want to waste everyone's time, so Joe and I will get connected, and we will see you all back here in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. A little bit late on the uptake on that one. We are here, though, and we are here with Joe. We're doing a mock. Joe's team, or, you know, Lars's team, is Iron Treads, Cresselia, Salamence, Bramblegast, Weavile, and Volcanion. Although I could absolutely see Enamorous coming. I think Palmot is always more of a threat than I expect it to be. Although I don't know how much of a threat it'll be in this matchup, since I have a Zapdos. Venomoth is scary. So there's definitely mons that aren't here in this particular matchup that I am definitely afraid of. But I'm curious to see what this particular set of Pokemon will do. I've got some tech. We'll see if it all works out. And I think one thing is I could lead with my Fortress. I think that's kind of a predictable lead, though. And I worry it's almost too predictable. So I'm not necessarily thinking that it's going to end up being my best lead. Also, for those keeping track at home, you'll see once the Fortress comes out that it's not a lead Fortress. We'll just leave it at that. It's going to be a fun one. And yeah, the Volcanion is a very possible lead for my opponent, very probable lead even for my opponent. I just don't have a switch into it, is really my problem. Zapdos is, as it has been all season, bulky, great on the physically defensive side to give me a defensive check to so many threats. Dragon Dance, Salamence being chief among them, but it handles Weavile, Iron Treads, Palmot, Brambleghast, so much better than any other set of Zapdos. It just felt very realistic that I was going to end up bringing a physically defensive Zapdos. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody anymore, but I do think it's very important for me to have it this week. Heatwave, the new tech-ish, I guess, giving it there for Iron Treads and Weavile, but otherwise Volt Switch is incredibly spammable against the entire team outside of Iron Treads, which I, of course, threaten with Heatwave. I do have U-Turn because of the fact that Iron Treads plus Brambleghast makes it really awkward to click Volt Switch or Heatwave. Brambleghast, obviously, with Wind Rider, Heatwave being a wind move that I can't click against it, and Iron Treads being a ground type, so I can't click Volt Switch. And I had a free move slot. I was like, you know what? Let's just go U-Turn. If they're making like these crazy reads back and forth between Brambleghast and Iron Treads, I just don't want to deal with it. Let's be able to get out on anything, get momentum on whatever I need. Zapdos does stay in on the Iron Treads pretty well. It also stays in on the Brambleghast decently well. But if it's something like a curse set and I just want to get out and not risk like Volt Switch not hitting or having to do a hard switch prediction, U-Turn just gave me the flexibility, and that's why I decided to go with it this week. First turn Flame Charge, Joe. Very bold.
Are you slow?
Are you fast?
Why are you so slow?
I'm bulky. You can't do both. Can't do everything.
Maybe we could try.
Can try. Doesn't always work.
People run bulky, fast Cyclizar.
Dragon Dance Mew. Oh, it feels good to say that. I know defensive Mew is not really an option anymore, so it's less surprising to my opponents that I'm going to be running something like an offensive set. But D-Dance Mew goes hard in this matchup. It saves me in a lot of situations, and as you can see in this mock immediately, it is a good switch in for Volcanion. Lumberry is going to allow it to take a Steam Eruption, no problem. We're going to be able to fire off Earthquakes. We're going to be able to Dragon Dance if it's chipped literally at all. Then I can D-Dance into Earthquake and kill. 2 Earthquakes, not a guaranteed KO on the Volcanion from full if it's like super bulky. So I do have to watch out for that. Ice Spinner gives me an answer to Salamence, Enamorus, Tornadus, Brambleghast, etc. And Psychic Fang is a good stab. Hits things like the Venomoth and the Palmot potentially. But Earthquake is the most spammable move that's on this set. And I just think this Mew is going to be super fun. I think Mew's super fun. Mew's a great mon, and I'm having a great time using it this season. Swippity swap. Okay. And I cut out a lot of the stuff here, admittedly. Or like,
oh, like dialogue and whatever?
And like post comment and like talk over it, so.
What if I say like poop, 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 poop. Farts, farts, farts. I'm a child.
Well, now I'm mandated to put it in legally.
Not on my permanent record.
It's gonna go on the internet for the world to see. Or hear, I guess. Swords Dance Overquill. Offensively coming this week and not supposed to be used as a defensive check to anything. I mean, it's an Overquill. It's got Intimidate. It's got Black Sludge. Sure, it can be a defensive check, but this thing should be used offensively throughout this matchup. The fact that it has Swords Dance just makes it absolutely a threat, since it can switch in on things like Bramblegast and just not die. Cresselia can't hurt it like at all. And it just be able to then proceed to Swords Dance, and Crunch is really spammable. Crunch into Aqua Jet can just take out a lot of things on that roster. I do have to be a little careful with Aqua Jet because of Volcanion. So if Volcanion is still alive, it's hard to click Aqua Jet because Volcanion is a decent switch into the Overquill. But +2 Barbarage or +2 Crunch does a ton of damage to Volcanion, and I can potentially live one non-specs Earth Power. So we are, tanky. We're not fast, but we are offensive. This thing is supposed to take hits, get up a Swords Dance, and then when time comes, fire off Aqua Jets, fire off attacks, and just go nuts. And I'm so excited. I feel like my team has so many Swords Dancers, and this is one that I was just not sure I would use this season, and I'm glad I get the chance to use it here. This thing is fascinating to look at.
It really is. I'm going to set something up. Oh, you hooked the Crunch.
It did nothing.
Yeah. Reflect is still up.
Oh, right. Reflect is still up. So this game has a lot of switching, and I'm expecting that to happen, and I'm kind of sad that I don't have more hazards, but on some level, I'm also, like, fine with it. Nah.
No!
Nah.
LHC. Have you considered running, like, Pluck?
Special set with U-Turn, Ice Beam, Surf, and Dark Pulse, and his specially offensive Scarfed Greninja, just so that I can be able to outspeed everything on my opponent's roster. Obviously, Scarf Weavile continues to outspeed, but being able to outspeed Enamorus, even if it's Choice Scarf, being able to outspeed +1 Salamence, etc. These are all really viable and helpful things to have access to. Iron Treads after a Rapid Spin. Other things like that, it could just absolutely be annoying. Scarf Ninja just gets me out of it. And we're going with a Protean set this week because I think Protean is really, really good here. Gives me a good extra power boost on some of these moves. Like U-Turn being clicked is just nice to have a little bit. 50% extra power is no joke. And I think it's just going to be a good Greninja set.
Or something?
Like a flying move of some kind?
Yeah.
Like Hurricane?
Not Hurricane flying move.
A non-Hurricane. Oh, like Acrobatics, maybe, but like... No, I haven't really thought that it was necessary, admittedly. I think it's easy enough to just Volt Switch out of it.
Sure.
This was very courageous of me. Okay.
I was gonna say it was very close.
It looked close, but it looked like it was gonna work.
know what else is in on this. Like, this is arguably not correct, but I don't know if I can do much else. I also want it noted, I did not build this team. I have not seen your team. I'm going in as blind as can be. This is like a random battle for me. You know your specs. Are you Scarf?
Ah, Fortress. You have your expectations for what a Fortress should be. Were they max attack, brave, nature, gyro ball, ice spinner, rapid spin, earthquake? No? Well, then you're not imaginative enough. This thing actually goes kind of hard this week. Fortress has a decent offensive matchup. It has a fine defensive profile, all things considered. Rapid Spin is great. The problem is Bramblegast always comes in on Fortress. Not if it has Ice Spinner and is max attack Brave. And also Gyro Ball, which also kind of goes really hard here. Because everything's really fast. So, Sturdy plus Earthquake allows it to be able to take out Volcanion potentially. Sturdy plus Gyro Ball allows it to take out Salamence, since dual Wing Beat's not killing after a Dragon Dance. So it would need to go for like a Fire Fang, which I live with Sturdy, and then can Gyro Ball and kill it. It allows it to kill Weavile. It allows it to kill a Namorous. It's just a great set, I think, this week. And if I get the chance to run an offensive Fortress, I'm absolutely doing it. So, you know, live with that.
That's not good.
Terra what? Terra Balloons! Terra Balloons!
Alright, if I didn't have spoilers, I'm looking at this thing thinking it's either going to explode on me or it's going to set up like spikes or some shit. So... potentially just won't switch out. Oh shit.
I appreciate you continuing to set up Dragon Dances.
Alright, just a minute. I'm back.
Ceruledge has been my MVP so far this season, and I don't think it's going to change now. Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, Bitter Blade, and Dragon Claw this week. Yeah, we're rocking Dragon Claw because Salamence is a problem, and they have to choose between terraing into something like Steel and risking being weak to the Bitter Blade, or flying. Both of those Bitter Blade just goes nuts against. Or staying as the type that they originally were, and then Dragon Claw just OHKOs. And if it doesn't, because for some reason Salamence is incredibly bulky or is Intimidate, Shadow Sneak should finish it off. I am Terra Fairy this week because of the Outrage from Salamence threat, since I'm not running any other Fairy type. Additionally, not being a Ghost slash Fire type makes it so that Weavile has to choose between an Ice move, which then runs into me not Terraing, or a Dark move, which then if I Terra Fairy, I survive. So that's really the main gist of why I wanted to be Terra Fairy this week. Bitter Blade, Swords Dance, Shadow Sneak, Dragon Claw all seem like great coverage, and I just think Ceruledge has a phenomenal matchup once again this week. I think the rest of this battle is very interesting from a battle perspective, but the commentary is not particularly interesting, and I think that the battle runs itself. So enjoy some music and a slightly sped up battle. Obviously, the actual battles will never do that because I'm going to be commentating over them in a live way, but for the mocks, enjoy. And I did switch to Terra Fairy. I'd been Terra Ghost for a while, but I switched to Terra Fairy because it gives me a resistance to Dark, non-weakness to Ghost, so Weavile clicking Night Slash or Brambleghast clicking Shadow Sneak will set off weak armor without being super effective. And the Fairy resistances slash weaknesses don't really come up as much. Iron Treads clicking Iron Head into an unterrad Ceruledge seems incredibly bold. And you know, Ghost and Fairy don't really. Volcanian's a super neutral matchup. Salamence is a super neutral matchup since it's going to be spamming Dual Wing Beat most of the time. So I figure just having it for the things that Fairy does resist is better. It also gives me, you know, like actually, no, I don't think it does anything else. That's about it, but it, you know, just seemed worth it. Originally, I had Terra Ghost and Colberberry, but I think Terra Fairy, just being resistant to Dark instead, is better.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the team. Hopefully you guys are excited. Tomorrow will be that battle against the Borussia Donphan, and we will see you back here for week 4 of the GBA. There's a lot of season left. I know these past couple weeks have been less than ideal for my performance, but hopefully things are stabilizing and we are able to just get the wins we need to get and get back into the W column, because we're certainly not out of it. We have 4 points, and I think we're still in a playoff position, or like one spot out of a playoff position at this point in the season. And to me, that's absolutely fine after 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks are usually my weakest part of the season. So to get out of that with 4 points and my match against the Bullet Punch Club, who's already 3-0 and an incredible team with like 7 points or something like that, get that out of the way and not let them score more than 2 while scoring 1 myself is absolutely ideal. And hopefully that's going to be the end of the losing streak and we're able to pick it up here. But I will see you all back here tomorrow where we find out. Thank you all so much for watching. Joe, would you like to take the people away?
And in the great and immense words of Goldo a Dragon, take care, everybody.